Today I want to talk about how I just secured 4 separate Switch 2 pre-orders and how you can do it too.
Oh yeah!
During the drop, the midnight drop, I've yet to see someone outline how to get it, how to deal with the trouble, so that's exactly what we're going to do today. And this video is for everyone. I don't care why you're buying them. If you're buying a single one for yourself, buying like I did, friends and family, maybe you want to make sure everyone has a great Christmas, or if you have nothing and you're buying a few so that you know you can make rent this month, I do not care. We are friendly to all here. I've had no secret about my past. During the PS5 drop, completely changed my life. Paid off my house, started a business. What I want to do is break this into a few different sections. These pre-orders are going to happen again, and these retailer websites are going to melt again. It's just the way it's going to happen. I want to start with prep, what you must do ahead of time. Basically, you're going to have 4 major retailers. I'm going to say the pros and cons of each and how each one works. So we're essentially talking about Walmart, Target, GameStop, and Best Buy. So the prep for all of them is more or less the same. You want to make sure you have your account, you're logged in, your account needs to be up to date. I'm talking notifications, which by the way, if they have the option, always go to the cell phone to where if you run into a problem during checkout, you're not trying to confirm through email. That could take several minutes. You also want to make sure your shipping address is correct. You have your payment method already saved, and you have the URL for the product already up. That's the same across the board. You also need to follow some Twitter accounts to get the notifications, boom, right then and there if you don't know how these places behave. I would recommend, I believe it's called LBOT and maybe Jake Randall. Although, funny thing, we'll get into it later on about Jake Randall. Here's what you want to do. Let me tell you my setup. So for this Switch 2 drop, we thought it would drop at midnight. 2 retailers winded up dropping about 12:30. I think another one about 1. What I do is I have 2 screens on my editing PC, right? So I have a 32-inch monitor here, 32-inch monitor here. I have Walmart up, I have Target up, and I have Best Buy up. I knew GameStop wasn't happening. I also have my laptop, excuse me, right next to me, and it's the same way. I have 3, and instead of separate tabs, I have 3 different browsers up, and I just have them in narrow view where I can see all 3 at one time. Also, I pick one retailer to focus on with the app, and I do that on my phone. So I have screen 1, screen 2, laptop is screen 3, and my phone propped up in front of me. I chose Walmart. You could have gone either way with Walmart or Target, but since I'm a Walmart Plus member, it didn't work out this time, but lots of time that grants you perks, right? So once you figure out when the drop is going to be, this one was very public. You could just do the old-fashioned refresh game. Now, you want to wait till about 30 seconds before the drop if you're lucky enough to know the drop time, or you could even install an auto refresher, or there are Google and Edge plugins that manage stock. So they'll give you a little little alert when something comes into stock at whichever retailer you choose. Let's say everything just went live. We've been refreshing, and by refreshing, I'm talking about I'm refreshing multiple tabs on the PC, laptop, and the one tab on the phone. Now, if you wanted to be slick, you could also focus on one retailer and having multiple accounts. Now, make sure you have different shipping addresses. Let's say you're trying to get 3 from Walmart. Make sure you have different shipping addresses for each of those accounts. I've never had them flag a payment method. The shipping address, I have had them flag, although most of them don't really care, if I'm being honest with you. But okay, it's shenanigans. You know the item has just dropped. Everybody's running. Your websites are starting to melt. You know, even big retailers, they might be able to handle 1 million people on the site at once, spread out here and there. But when people rush to one product page, I don't care if it's Walmart, Target, that website is going to melt. And I do see a lot of people complaining about that. They need to get their stuff together, but they really don't. You know, they don't make a whole lot of money on these consoles. and being able to accept a higher web traffic would cost them more money than they're going to make on this drop. But that's also why they did it at midnight with less people on their websites, I'm sure. But the launch has just happened. Let's talk about Walmart. You're going to go to the product page. You're going to see your little button. Let's say you do not see that blue. It will be blue on Walmart. Let's say you do not see that blue pre-order button. You're just going to keep refreshing that joint until you do. Once you hit it, Walmart's going to put you into a queue. That's why it's good to have multiple things going on with Walmart. It's a place in a digital line. So I had Walmart up on my left screen, same account. Walmart up on my right screen, different browser. One was Google, one was Edge. One on my laptop, and then one on the phone. So you're going to, even though you're logged in with the same account, you're going to have 4 different places in line. Now, you're pretty well done at that point. There's nothing you can do to make Walmart go faster. You need to keep an eye on them. And the second, if you're lucky enough, that you do see it's now your time to purchase, this is where it comes in that you need to already have all of those fields pre-filled out. You're going to spam that purchase button. It's going to say, can't do it, can't do it. It's going to say sold out. Don't worry about that. Just keep going back to your cart. It will be there. This one's pretty simple. You just keep spamming, refreshing, spamming, refreshing. Eventually, if you make it, you have a few minutes to check out if you make it past the queue. I'm talking about Walmart first because it's the easiest, I'd say. Now let's talk about Target, which for me is the most fun. So pre-orders are nationwide, but if you were to try to buy it after it's out, it will be regional. That's why Target's the best one. So not pre-orders, but when a console's out and it's scarce, you're not fighting with the rest of the world. You're going to already have your store selected within your account. You're only going to be fighting against people in your area. But that only applies to after the fact. Right now, we're talking pre-orders. So once again, I have multiple targets up. I actually did something pretty bananas on this switch order, okay? So you're going to see it go into stock. The button's going to turn red, okay? And sometimes it's the same with GameStop. Sometimes that button won't turn red. Go ahead and click it before you refresh. Nothing happens. Refresh, 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 refresh. Each of these steps, I tell you, you might do 150 times. I mean, it is a manic panic. So once you are able to get it to add to cart, you're only 10% into the battle with Target, but there is no queue. It's just hit it in there. Once you get it in there, the cart system, the checkout system is going to absolutely melt. Okay, you're going to hit checkout. You're going to hit your payment method first, then you're going to hit checkout. It's going to say like, you don't have a street address on file. You're going to have to refill that out. Payment method didn't work. You're going to have to refill that out. Make sure on your payment method, in case you get hit with a fraud, that once again, you have text notifications enabled so you can just hit that V for valid or yes for you're trying to make the purchase. I probably hit that Target checkout button 300 times. What it came down to was one tab up on the PC, one tab on the laptop. And it kept telling me the credit card wouldn't go through, right? So what I do is on the laptop, I go ahead and select PayPal, which like I said, I'm pre-logged into on that PC. So I am currently refreshing and checking out with the same item, the same account, 2 different methods at the same time. PayPal, 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 credit card, credit card, credit card, which is a risky business, but ultimately only one of them's going to go through. This probably took me for the first one 10 minutes once it was in the cart of just frantic pressing, but of course I got that. And by the way, I got the Walmart one, of course. Let's talk about Best Buy. Best Buy, what's going to happen is, and this is a little trick, that button, like I say, the buy it now button, will not always turn colors, and this is real bad for Best Buy. So you all, even if it says coming soon, you click that button, nothing happens, you refresh, refresh, refresh. You got to watch refreshing on Best Buy before it comes into stock, right? Because they will flag your account, same with Walmart. With Best Buy, essentially, it's going to throw you into a queue. And sometimes you'll get the little queue notifications. Sometimes you'll jump right past that into your cart. It is going to continuously tell you it's not available for shipping. and it's not available at your local store, right? It's once again, it's just spam that checkout button, spam that checkout button. For me, Best Buy flagged my account and I had to get a text message sent to myself to verify that it was me, right? I wind up getting my credit card got fraud too, just because, it was like 1 a.m. when I winded up checking out. But it's all about perseverance, because here's what happens. The first 5 minutes they're up, let's say, no one's getting anything for the most part. Lots of times, not at all. A lot of people give up. They try for 10 minutes. See, these websites are getting so throttled down, you almost have to keep at it and wait until that huge wave of like 100,000 people actually give up. And then once again, it's basically the same. You spam that checkout button. If it says something went wrong or if it says payment method failed, you don't change anything. You just keep spamming unless it says like a shipping address isn't there. You might have to refill that out 10 times. I like to keep a notepad up on the PC as well that has all my information. You obviously don't save it, but credit card number, expiration date, address. That way, when it does remove it, which most of the time it will at some point, you can just copy, paste. Eventually, it will go through. That's the name of the game right here. The name of the game is being prepped, being logged in, payment method, logged into PayPal or, whatever payment, your Apple Pay, whatever you use. And just add it. When it says it's out of stock, you don't care, especially if you already have it in your cart and it tells you, this happens to a lot of people, to be in their cart and it'll say it's no longer available. Refresh that cart just as if it never told you that. Most people will continue to get one that way. There is another issue with Walmart though. This one's crazy. You'll have to hold to verify you're a person button. You ever see that oblong button you have to hold and it slowly ding, 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 fills? When their website's getting clobbered on PC, lots of times you'll never get through that. It'll just keep saying error, which is something you really can't do anything about, and it can be a major roadblock. Back to Best Buy. If you're seeing from these Switch account or these Twitter accounts you're following that it's in stock and it's not showing up for you, Best Buy's a weird one. You need to switch your browser. Go from Chrome to Edge or from Edge to Chrome or whatever. Lots of times it's weird. It sticks on one browser but doesn't on another. Final website is GameStop. And I would advise everyone, if you have another option, do not use GameStop. GameStop's website melts at 3 p.m. when they're not even having a sale. Well, you'll click a link and it'll take 30 seconds to generate. That's why I don't really like it. But it is essentially the same way. You refresh, you spam, and this is going to be real bad for Best Buy. You might do this for 15 minutes, but until you have multiple Twitter accounts say it's out of stock, and I would go as far as say even 5 minutes after that, 10 minutes after that, you're continuing to run through this same process, refreshing, getting it into cart, refreshing your cart, spamming that checkout button. You got to watch by more than one from one retailer. They flag the shipping address. It's not always, but if you have a second account with a different shipping address, payment methods, they don't flag as much, but if you have a second payment method, great. Have it shipped to your neighbor's house, to your buddy's house, whatever. And that's how I was able to secure, multiples from each retailer. This is going to happen again. These are going to come in waves. And every time it's going to be the same. Although what's going to be great is that pre-order before was a giant multiple retailer mess. Typically it won't be. For example, if Target likes to do their drops Tuesdays between like 6:35 and 6:50 a.m., that's what they did for the PlayStation for multiple years. And like I say, with Target, after the fact, after it's out, you're only competing with your community. But if you know to be, no matter who you're competing against, if you know to be right there, and that's typically when Target drops, or pay attention to these Twitter accounts, the only problem is by the time you get the tweet, you're already about 2 minutes behind, right? So what you really got to do is watch the patterns, watch the times. Walmart loves to go live in the middle of the night. GameStop, GameStop just sucks, right? And GameStop's real bad, although all retailers are doing this where they try to force you into the bundle. Because like I say, they don't make much money on these consoles. They make more money on the game. So anything, if they could even throw, I know we're getting the Mario Kart one, but if you can throw 2 or 3 games at someone, an extra controller, that's how they're going to profit. And that also is another tip. You're going to have a lot better chance of getting the bundle than the console. So if you're not sure you have the perseverance or the fast fingers or whatever, go with the bundle. But you got to watch. A lot of these Twitter accounts you're using are going to steal you wrong. Like that Jake Randall dude. He seems like an all right guy, but he wants to so much be an expert. Like I would watch him during the PS5 days, and he's the type of dude who'd be like, you're not going to follow my rules, then you're not going to get one. You know, it almost seems like that dude's whole life is tied into being an expert on drops. Funny thing about him, though, is he bashes scalpers, but he literally wrote the playbook for scalpers. You know, he's the one who taught me how to do the multiple accounts, right? You have multiple accounts up with multiple different methods and how to not get that flagged. No person needs to know that, right? Only scalpers need to know that. That's it. So I think he's playing both sides of the fence where he gets to be like the wholesome Nintendo guy and every family gets one, but he gets to cater to the scalpers as well. And that helps generate, you know, it makes his view count go boom. These drops are going to continue to happen. And honestly, if I was able to get over 100 PlayStation 5s, you can get a single Switch. And if you don't want to go through the madness I talk about, pick your retailer. Follow these rules on that exact retailer. Follow LBOT, I believe. There's also a dude named Wario64, I believe, Jake Randall. Have it to where you'll get notifications on your phone. It'll have that little ding. You got to watch with that Jake Randall dude because you're going to get hit. You're going to get dinged with every little conversation he's having with anyone online. But I'll gladly help anyone if they're having trouble or if they have any questions. Go ahead and hit me up, drop a comment, message us on Instagram, whatever. I'll coach you through it. And like I say, we're friendly to all here. I don't care what you're using this information for. Just use it, get what you want, and move on with your life.